right? Um, has anyone put any files this week for me to look at?
No, but in your assets folder, you uploaded a a creative brief template. Are we supposed to hand that back in, or is that just for us
No,
to use?
that is for the final project.
Okay, cool.
So you can use that creative brief template. Again, there are different ways you can do creative briefs, but this is just a template for you, which can cover almost all the grounds. So the whole idea is to create a brief which can not just help you communicate with your clients, but also communicate within your team if you're working in a team. So creative briefs are important, and they actually help us, uh, uh, you know, to solidify the goals and what you need to do with the project itself. All right. Okay. I was going to show you, although we did cover that a little bit earlier, but I was going to show you how to build something, a sort of a project which we can use voice commands. And so that I just got off with a long meeting with our clients at my work, and I didn't finish what I wanted to do, but let's just build everything together over here and see if we can make this work. And I'll show you what I started, and then actually we'll start from scratch. We'll even create a logo and then go from there. So let me share my screen with you and show you what was going on. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is what I was thinking of. These projects which we are doing, it's not just the internet. They can be uh, on, anywhere. It can be a kiosk. It can even be an app which you have designed for, like for a fridge over here. Okay. So I was building this project for you guys. I didn't finish it. Let's see if we can get it done. So I was thinking of creating a small prototype of a app with which you can, just like a Samsung refrigerator over here. So we can give our fridge a voice command, and with the voice command, it leads you into uh, another screen. Let me just go back to my XD files over here. Okay, so this is what I was thinking of. I already built the screen, so I still need to do the interactivity. Okay, so zoom in over here. Okay, so this is what I was thinking. So I built, I did the logo over here. The image which I was showing you was the Samsung screen. Okay, I just added Samsung over here, so if let's say if this is app by Samsung and they wanted to do a, a small app which will run on the screen on their refrigerators. And from here, so you can give your fridge a voice command, and it will start just like when we say, "Hey Siri," or "Hi Alexa." Over here, we can say, "Hi fridge," and that command leads us to this next screen. Okay, and from here, it it transition or over here, the app tells you, "Hi, uh, how can I help you?" Okay, and so that goes to the next screen. And over here, as you know, that the voice commands work with the, if you press the space bar down and then you speak. So in this case, we are going to press the space bar and we are going to say, uh, is, uh, is, uh, is there is there no butter or something like that? So I was just thinking how to do this. Okay, so we are asking a question to the fridge, and the fridge is going to say, you know, it's going to open another screen where it will show you a picture of, so we can say, is there butter? And it is going to show you a picture of butter. Or if we say, you know, I was thinking, so is there no butter? And then over here, it's going to show you a picture of butter and say, ask you, do you want me to add it to your shopping list? Okay. So you're going to say yes, please. Okay. And when it says yes, please, it can open your shopping list. And if you notice that over here, we don't have butter showing. Butter is somewhere down the list. And we are going to do an auto transition from this screen over here, where you know, the list scrolls up and shows where the butter is. Okay. And then, you know, so this is so far I got on that. And so I was designing it and then, you know, never finished it. So let's just do this. I think some of the students over here, the graphic applications like Photoshop and Illustrator are new to them. Yes, we can do some graphics in XD. So let's just quickly build this logo. I earlier built this in Illustrator, but you know, you can see how we can create something in Illustrator and just simply copy and paste it in XD. So you don't even have to import over here. Okay, and then, you know, we are going to build these screens. I found a nice clip art of these produce and groceries, which usually go inside your refrigerator. So I thought it will be a good thing to show on the first screen. Okay, and if you notice that over here in the first screen, uh, on the fridge, I'm showing you a screen capture of the same screen which I built, so that it makes sense. So when you open the app, and it's going to transition from here into this with a voice command. And so the whole idea is to work with voice commands. I haven't tested how it's going to work, so we are going to do it together. So if I get stuck somewhere, uh, help me out, okay? So let's build the graphics and set up the screens first and see, you know, how this was built, and then we will start doing some prototyping, okay? So let's do this. So far, I have this image, which I got from the Samsung's website, okay? Then this was a clip art which I found online, and so I was just using this part of it. And let me also show you what I did with this. Okay, so I copied this information. So this is open in Photoshop right now, and I copied this part of the image and pasted it in Illustrator. Okay, so let me show you right here. So if I just paste this, let's go back over here. So just copy this, Command C to copy, Illustrator, Command V to paste. Now, this is a bitmap image, and I can work with this, but at the same time, it will make more sense if I can convert it into a vector drawing. Why? Because vectors are scalable. So I can scale them to any size and they won't lose any quality. So how do I convert this? So I don't have time to go and do all these illustrations all over again. So just to save time, what you can also do is take advantage of something called image trace in Illustrator. So if you notice on my computer, this is your Adobe Illustrator uh, interface, and the document is already open. And I can select this image. So as soon as I select this image, when I click over here, image trace button appears. Now in this case, I'm looking at several colors over here. So I can trace. If I just click on image trace, it's going to give me a black and white version of it, but this is not what I'm interested in this case. So I'm going to do undo, Command Z to undo. So if you notice, image trace button has a drop down menu right here. So if I click over here, so these are some of the options with which I can trace this image. So I'm thinking, can I live with 3 colors over here? So I can see there are more colors going on. So how about 6 colors? And maybe 6 colors, but I think there are more colors than 6 over here. So I can just go with a 16 color trace. So if I click 16 colors, and depending upon how much memory and how many applications are open, sometimes if it's a complex image, it might take a little while, but it has already traced it. Now, if you notice, these were flat graphics. So the quality, if I go a little closer, so there might be some areas, for example, the eggs over here. So they are losing a little bit of a shape over here. If you have time to go and fix that, you can, okay? But in this case, since it's just a illustration, so I can live with what's going on over here. But at the same time, I was thinking that I will be using this image as it is on the fridge, but at the same time, if there's a way of extracting any of those vegetables or milk or cream or juice bottle over here, or maybe eggs separate, so that I can make that list and use these as little icons for for the list. So I've already traced it, okay, and in order to prove that it has been traced and it's a vector image, I can expand it. So there now, if you notice that there's an expand button rather than tracing button. So if I click on expand, okay, so it is expanding. Okay, so now you can see that You can see some of the paths over here. And once you expand, this thing is still in a group. Okay, so if I go to the object menu, and from here, I'm going to choose ungroup. So once I ungroup, so you can see that these are all, actually, I think there are multiple groups going on over here. So another thing you can do is rather than doing ungrouping several times to get to the uh, uh, to uh, to the complexity of hierarchy of groups. So what you can also do is, if you go to your tools panel, and remember there's a direct selection tool and there is a group selection tool. So you can select group selection tool and then click on something you want to select. So although this image still have some grouping going on, but if you click on something, you can select it. And actually, I don't need this white border which I clicked on, so I can hit the delete key on my keyboard to get rid of this. Okay, so this is the image I'm going to keep intact how it is. And if I zoom out a little bit, okay, and then as I was thinking of creating these icons from these produce over here, so what I'll do is, with the group selection tool still selected, I'm going to just select this part. Okay, so I'm trying to select eggs over here, but there's also a background over here. That's fine. So I'll select, it also selects the background. I don't want to delete it at this point. I can say copy, Command C to copy, and then I'm going to Command V to paste it this area. So with the group selection tool, I can click on the background now and delete. Okay, so this is how you can easily separate imagery. Now, another option would have been, in order to save time, if you want to go this route, you just select everything and you can make a copy of everything. And then you can go in with the direct selection tool and just delete the parts you don't need. Okay, so I'm just cleaning up the background. And now you have all these separate pieces. So for example, let's say if this was a juice bottle, so I can separate this, and then of course milk. Okay, so it's that easy. And I don't know if these are cupcakes or what, so I don't want the stand over here, and move this guy over here. Vegetables, I can have just one vegetable representing the vegetables in the list, or I can select a couple of them. So maybe I'll use one of the lemon ones over here, and I like this red pepper. Move this over here. Don't need broccoli. Maybe, okay, so maybe I'll just use these three images together. Okay, and maybe I can make the lemon a little smaller, so I can just scale it down and so on. Okay, so now remember, when I was doing this, when I was separating all this, I was using the group selection tool, okay? And if I just go in with the black arrow or the selection tool, if I click any of these objects, you can see that these are still grouped over here, okay? So I will have to do another ungroup, okay? So object, ungroup, and see if it, yeah. So now these are separate, okay? So when you're ungrouping, you may have to realize that if, for example, this milk package, it is made up of several objects. So this is separate now, this is separate, so don't accidentally move anything, okay? So in that case, so you may have to select everything in the milk carton over here and Command G to group. So once it's grouped, so it's going to stay together, okay? So, so this was a little exercise in Illustrator, okay? So if you already have an image and if you want to trace it, okay? So there's a whole tutorial I can go over in tracing, but this is just an example I'm putting out that if you have something as simple as this, so I'm calling it a simple illustration. Simple in the sense there are no gradients over here. So mostly what we have is flat imagery. Okay. So if you have something like this, so it can be easily traced and easily separated after tracing. And good thing is that whatever we are tracing, it is still vector now. And wherever you have to use it, you can scale it to any size you want, and it will not lose any quality. Okay. If it was a bitmap image, so more you are manipulating it, it's going to start losing some quality. Okay. So that is one thing. All right. Another thing I wanted to do was when I was building that logo, okay, and this logo was also done in Illustrator. Now, why did I choose Illustrator to do that? Once again, especially when it comes to logos, you should always do your logos uh, in vector art. So that's why I chose Illustrator. Okay, why vector? Because logo is something which when you create, it can be used on many different projects, whether it's a business card, whether it's if it's a logo of a company that makes these pens over here, and on a pen, the size of the logo may be even smaller than a business card. And then the same logo can also be used on a large areas like a shop sign or even a billboard or even on the tail of an aeroplane. Okay, so you don't have to recreate that. So since it's a vector drawing, it can be scaled up or scaled down without losing any quality. Okay, so just a little example of how this was built, especially for students who have not used any vector tools before. So in Illustrator, I'm using this tools panel over here, and I'm going to go and find my rectangular tool. And if I click and hold from rectangle tool, so you can see there are other tools hiding down there, and there is one rounded rectangle. So with the rounded rectangle, I created a rounded rectangle like this. Okay. I'm going to use different colors this time. So let's see what color will look good. Okay, let's make it a little darker purple over here. Okay. Now I need to create another rounded rectangle, which is going to go inside over here. So rather than drawing a rectangle like that, okay, you can also, it can be done either way. So either you make a copy of what you already have, okay. So I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, and Edit, and choose Paste in Front. So when I do this, you will see nothing changed on the screen, but what actually happened is that Illustrator pasted that copy exactly on top of the first object. Okay, so let me do Command Z to undo this. So if you are, if I just pasted it, so if I do Command V to just paste, it's going to paste in the center of your viewable area. Okay, so that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted this to align to the uh, rectangle which was behind it. Now on this top rectangle, I'm going to change color, and let's find a complementary color over here. So let's use this yellow. And I'm going to scale this down so that we can see the rectangle behind it. Okay, so that looks good so far. So next thing I need to do is I want to leave this white area around this. So I'm going to make another copy of this yellow rectangle which I've created. So select it, copy, paste in front. There's a keyboard shortcut that is Command F you can use to paste in front. Okay. I can scale this down a little bit. I might have to scale it this way. Okay. And I'll select the rectangle which is behind just to change color of it so that we can see what is going on. So let's just make it white over here. All right. So next thing I need to do is I was thinking of fridge. So I wanted this to look like the letter F. So I'll go back to my rounded rectangle, and somewhere over here, I'm going to create another rounded rectangle, a small one. All right. So next I need to do is select everything over here. Okay, and now I'm going to add and subtract certain areas. Okay, so if I zoom in, so I want this area to be purple. Okay, I want this area to remain white, but this area, this white area, I can keep this white area in here, or I can even subtract this white area, so that if I take this logo and put it on a different background, so that color can show up in this white area. Okay, so you will see what I mean by that. So let me just move this guy over here. Okay, so right now you can see that this is a white area, but if I subtract it out, so I will be able to see the background over here. So that's what I want to do. All right, so everything is selected in this, and in Tools panel, I'm going to go and find a tool going all the way down over here called the Shape Builder tool. So with the Shape Builder tool, this is a very powerful tool. I love this. I use this a lot. So with the Shape Builder tool, if you notice when I bring my cursor on these areas now, so they highlight by this texture in there independently. Okay. So wherever there's a division, so it's going to highlight that area. So what I actually want to do right now is if I click and drag from this area to this area, now you see both of these areas highlight. And when I let go of my mouse, so this becomes as one. So I think I lost my color. So let me just put some color over here. So I'll just go in with the group selection tool, select this guy, and just take that color back. Okay, I didn't save my color, so that's why I'm just picking up this color. Okay, so we can live with this and we can go with this, you know, if, but if, for example, you want to put this logo on a separate background, so you may want to make this area transparent, which is the white area. So how do you do that? Once again, select everything, go to Shape Builder tool, and now instead of just clicking and dragging, okay, to add areas, I'm going to press the Option key down, Option, drag to subtract. Okay, Option click and Option to subtract. Okay, so now why I did it this way, because it doesn't matter if it's a different color background, so that white area will show that color behind it. Okay, so this is good. And now if you notice that they are still separate, because when I was doing that, so they were still separate, but you select everything and group it, Command G to group. So once it's grouped, everything is going to move together. Okay, now this is good. So I just wanted to create some interest by sort of skewing the logo a little bit, because right now it looks a little too boxy, and I can add a little more dimension by skewing this. So for this, I can distort this. So that is another reason why I grouped it together. So if I didn't do this, and when I'm distorting it, so so each object is going to distort separately. So now it's a group. I can go to the effects menu after selecting this. Of course, I want to do something with this. So select it, go to the effects menu, and from here, I'm going to choose distort and transform. And from here, I'm going to choose free distort. So when I do free distort, so this dialog box opens up. And in this dialog box, I can squish the logo by using these anchor points over here, and I can just squish it this way. And maybe this anchor point, I'm going to squish it up a little bit to give it a dimension. Okay, so unfortunately, with this effect, there is no preview. This is one of the oldest effects in Illustrator, and as the program have been updated, so I wish they included a little preview so that you can see how that looks. But this little illustration over here gives you an idea, how it's going to look like. But when I just say OK to this, okay, so there is my new part of the logo. Okay, and then of course you can add text. Now I was noticing when I was using this logo, which includes the text over here, and I was in XD because I copied and pasted it over here. So in XD, the leading on marketplace over here changed, which was not in the logo. Okay, so one of the reasons is that when I was in Illustrator, I kept this as live text. Okay, and for some reason it shouldn't change that much, but if you scale or manipulate your imagery a little bit in XD, so something this like this may happen. So in order to avoid that, so in Illustrator, you may want to also, so let's say if this was the text over here, I'm just going to copy it, Option drag to copy it here, and zoom in. I'll just change the colors. Okay, so highlight this guy, eyedropper tool, and I'll say, make it this purple. highlight the word the with the eyedropper tool. So change the color and change the color over here. Okay, so this looks more consistent now. Okay, and last thing you should do on the logo, which I didn't do, is select the type and go to the type menu. And from here, you are going to choose create outlines. So what create outlines is going to do is it's going to change this text into shapes. Okay, so this is no longer editable text. So if I go in with the type tool and try to select it, you can't select it. Now it is editable, not editable, but it is editable, but it is editable as a shape rather than text. So if if I'm a logo designer, so I might want to manipulate uh, the fonts a little bit or text a little bit. Okay, so maybe I want to create a dot on top of fridge over here. So what can I do? I can go in with a group selection tool to select only this guy, option drag to make a copy. Go to my selection tool. It will give me this bounding box. So now I can scale this down this way to create. Maybe I'll just match it with the bottom of E over here. Okay. So now you can see that if this is vector drawing. These are all shapes. There is no live text in there, and since everything is going to stay together now, so you're going to select everything over here and go to edit and then choose object and then choose group from there. Okay. So once it is grouped, so everything moves together. You can scale it up or down. It's not going to lose quality. All right, so this is where all the imagery was. Okay, so at this time, my imagery in this is in two places. Number one, it is in Illustrator. Okay, Adobe Illustrator. So everything is over here. And number two, any image which was bitmap. In this case, the only image I will be using is this guy, and this is in Photoshop. Okay. If you want, you can save these as separate files and archive them, and if you have to use them later on. And in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste these into XD. Okay, so that's the easiest way to be working. So what I'll do now is go back to XD and say I want to create a new project. File, new. It's going to be an iPhone 10 to 11. Okay. Can name this as home screen. Okay. So this artboard is named home. I want to bring that refrigerator image in here. So let's go back in Photoshop. Couple of ways. If you may have a different background in XD, okay, in that case, you will have to clean up this white background. So you want to eliminate that and make this background transparent. Okay. So one of the easy ways of doing that is Command A to select all. So it is selected the whole image. And then you go and find a tool called Magic Wand tool. You can also use a quick selection tool for this, but Magic Wand should be fine. So with the Magic Wand tool, I'm going to press the Option key. So when I'm pressing the Option key, you can see that it shows me Magic Wand with a minus sign. So if I click in the white area now, it's going to clean that up. Okay, but So that area has been subtracted. So now if I click and not click, but copy, edit copy from here. So I can only copy the refrigerator, go back to XD and Command V to paste. Now this was a little higher resolution image, so that's why it is larger. That's fine. You can scale it. Okay. Once you scale it, you can put it right here. Okay, so this is looking good. If I was using a different color background, so let's say I select the artboard and change the fill color to something different over here. So now you can see that since I only copied the area which were colored from Photoshop, okay, so I can just simple copy and paste. Now sometimes, let me do Command Z. Sometimes you may get the image from somebody. So in that case, you may have to save your image to be used not just in this project, and maybe there's another part of the project you are doing. Maybe you also need to create a magazine ad to promote this app. Okay, so in that case, rather than just simple copy and paste from Photoshop or anywhere else, so what you are going to do is you are going to create an image. So if I go back to Photoshop, so after cleaning the background, okay, now if you notice right here, this image still has that white background. The reason is that I was working in the background layer over here, and that portion has not been deleted. All I did was to select just the refrigerator. So in order to delete the background, okay, so I need to select only the background, not the image itself. So I'm going to go to select menu, and from here I'm going to just choose inverse. So when I do inverse, now only the background is selected, the white background, and not the fridge image. And when I hit the delete key now, it cleans up the background. So this checkered background over here, this represents the transparency. So that is one thing. And now the question is how I should save it. So in order to save, you are going to go to File and choose Save As. And I'm going to save it to the desktop. That's fine on this computer. Okay. And I can name my file whatever I want, but I'll make sure when I'm saving, I'm not saving in bit, for example, BMP file or GIF file. EPS is usually used for print shops. If you're embedding any vector information in your bitmap image. But in our case, PNG is a newer format, and this is the format which supports high quality transparency. So that's what you're going to use. All right, so PNG, and once you save it, then you have an image with a transparent background, which can be used anywhere in different projects. All right. Another thing I wanted was I wanted to bring the Samsung logo. Okay, and let me show you what I did. So I went online and Googled Samsung logo. Okay, so here's a Samsung logo, which I found with their original colors. That is fine. So I can right click on this and say copy image. Okay, so I'm lucky that it came with already transparent background. So I can know that it's already a PNG image. So now I can go to this XD project and then do Command V to paste. Okay. So now I can scale this guy. So when you're scaling, you don't have to hold the Shift key in XD. So you have already discovered that. If you press the Option key while scaling, it's going to scale from inside out or outside in, okay, right from the center. If you're not holding the Option key, then you can scale it just from one of the corner handles. Okay, so I'm just going to press the Option key and scale it, and this should look fine for right now. Okay, so this is my first screen. Another thing I wanted to do was, I don't know if I did this on my first screen in the last project or not, so let me just look at it. Okay, no, I just kept the whole fridge over here. That's fine, and this yellow bar. All right, so we are designing it slightly differently over here. Okay, so let me show you how I change the color of Samsung over here. So we'll do the same. Let me just bring this over here and scale my refrigerator. Okay, so I'm going to hold the Option key down to Command Z to undo. I'm not making copy. Option and scale. Okay, now as I'm scaling, there's another keyboard shortcut you may want to remember. It can come handy. So when you are scaling with Command and Shift key selected at the same time, I think it was, no, sorry, Option and then Shift key. Well, it's not working now. Yeah, I was playing with this earlier and I discovered that keyboard shortcut, and that was that if you have to, for some reason, distort the image. I think that's what I was holding. Option and then Shift. Okay, anyway, I'll find it for you. Um, So I thought it was interesting and I can show that, but I'll just work with this for right now. All right, so Samsung logo on a darker background does not stand out. So what should I do over here? Do I have to open or go and find a Samsung logo which is white, or can I manipulate this? Actually, this is what I'm going to do is right click, and from here I'm going to choose Edit in Photoshop. So it's going to go and open Photoshop for you. And in Photoshop, you can, in this case, we can do Command U for hue saturation. Where this hue saturation is under Image, Adjustments, and Hue Saturation. You can see Command U is the shortcut. And then over here, I'm going to take this lightness slider and slide it all the way towards right to change color and say OK. Okay, so now this is like a smart object. This is what I'm editing over here is the image in Adobe XD. So when I'm in Photoshop, so after making these changes, I'll have to make sure that I save my document now. So I'll go to File and choose save. So once I save, if we go back to XD, you can see that it has already changed over here. So this is a smart way of editing your images. So from XD, so select an image, right click on this, and then edit in Photoshop. And once you are in Photoshop, make sure after making changes you save, and the changes will be right here. Another thing I want to do is to bring that logo, which we just made. So I'll just select this logo, edit, copy, and edit, paste. And I can just put it over here. And so now this is what I was trying to show you is you see how my logo changes while I'm scaling in XD. So that is something you have to be careful. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this. If we can fix this issue. So going back to Illustrator. Okay, so everything is working fine, and I think that since we applied that effect, which was the transform effect, so XD is not translating that effect correctly. So it is thinking of these as two different images sort of encapsulated together. So I hope that this is going to help. I'm just going to select the logo part and go to Object and choose Expand Appearance. So when I expand appearance, so it is no longer linked to that effect, okay? And then next thing I want to make sure that everything over here is in a group, okay? And let's see if this helps solve this problem. So once again, guys, so I was just working on this project, and whenever you are starting a new project and you will discover some issues which you have to solve, and hopefully let's see if this image, this is what I was thinking may be the problem, and if that has solved the issue. So Command C to copy, go back to XD, just delete this guy, Command V to paste, and let's see if I scale and we'll have the same. Oh, it's still the same. Okay, so let's see. All right, so this is what is going on. So if you do not want to distort the image, you press the Shift key down and then you scale. Okay, so that was the issue. So again, I learned something new, which I didn't know. Okay, so now this is our first screen, and I'm going to quickly build the second screen. I don't have to show you much more of how to draw and everything. So select the artboard, Command D to duplicate. I don't need the fridge image over here. I'm going to delete that. The Samsung logo, I don't need that. I'm going to delete that. And I'll take my rectangle tool and create a yellow bar down here. Okay, so I'm going to choose a color for this, which is going to be the fill color. It's going to be this yellow, and border, I don't want any. Okay, so this is a start. Second, I want to bring those illustrations of those grocery vegetables or all that stuff. Go back to Illustrator. Select everything from here. Command C to copy. Command V to paste. Scale this. Option key. So once again, when I'm scaling, so everything is coming together. So when you're scaling, also hold the Shift key down. Okay. All right. So next, we want to create a screen where we can have the app asking us, how can I help you? Okay. So for that, we're going to select this screen and let me just call it. This is going to be the high screen. Okay. And then you select the screen and then Command D to make a copy. And in this case, these vegetables over here do not make sense. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep them here, but reduce their opacity. And I'm just going to take it down to, let's say, about 10% or so. And on this, I can type in how can I help you? Let's do all caps. Okay, and we can choose a bolder font over here. See if I can access any. Just use Arial Black over here. All right, so I want this text to be red. So the fill color, I'm going to take the eyedropper tool and say, let's just pick this red from within uh, the document. And I need to make this larger. So the regular, at this time, it's 11 points. So let's just take it to about 30, 31. Make this center justified. I don't want the box to be that big, so I just want to shrink this guy down. I can change the leading. And so over here, in XD, there's no leading, but there is line spacing, okay? So I'm going to select the line spacing and then just reduce the number over here so that this can come closer. And move this guy over here. Okay, so next screen, I'm going to copy everything from here, Command D. Okay. So see how I'm going with this. The location of the logo on the first screen, and then the second and the third and the fourth, they are exactly at the same place. This is going to keep consistency between different screens. So when you're going from one place to the other, so when even if there is 1 pixel difference, so you will see a little jump when the screens transition from one side to the other. Okay. All right. So before I build another screen, so I'm looking at this screen, which can be used over here on the refrigerator. So let's take care of this first. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a screen capture. So in order to do screen capture, so on Mac computer, I did Command, Control, and Shift key together because I don't want to save this file on my desktop. So I did Command, Control, Shift, and then I get this cursor. So now I can take a picture. Okay. So now this picture didn't go on my desktop. It got stored in the clipboard. And then I can paste it. Command V to paste. And you can scale it down. And zoom in and put it right here. All right. So it looks good. All right. So any questions so far, guys? No questions?
Or no, no.
No. So straightforward, simple. Especially students who already work with Illustrator, Photoshop. Uh, so this shouldn't be a problem. Okay. And students, uh, for whom these software packages are new, so it may just help them a little bit to be more familiar. Um, I'm going to take a 5-minute break, guys. So, and then I will be right back. Usually I don't take breaks, but um, I feel like taking a break right now. So I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys, I'm back. Yeah, Tuesdays are a little tough, especially at my work. We have a completely 360-degree change in our business. Uh, we we are going from B2B business to uh, business to consumer because of all the coronavirus stuff happening. So, so the whole marketing is changing. Our website is changing, as well as uh, you know creating new package designs, new everything. So, so it's a good thing in the sense that at least have a job. Um, I hope everyone else is doing okay during this pandemic or the crisis which is going on, but that should, you know. Oh, another thing I do want to mention here is uh, any students, usually, we come and we lecture and uh, but if any student is uh, having some issues or problems, or I shouldn't say issues or problems, but I should say that during this time, any student needs any help. So just to let you know that school lines are open. They have whole department which is there to help students in any way possible. So you don't even have to contact your instructors or anything. Just contact the school and they will be helping you guys out if anyone needs any help. Uh, you know, because I know that students have jobs and sometimes, you're losing your job or anything. But uh, if you guys are doing okay, that's fine. Just if you know anyone who needs help, so at least you can give them this information. All right, so going back to what we were doing now, once again, guys, I will be needing a little bit of your help. Okay, and after I complete this screen or these screens, so I have a couple of more screens to do. One will be, okay, so how can I help you? And then we are going to say that uh, there is no butter. Okay, so we are actually talking to the fridge and telling the fridge there is no butter. Okay, and as soon as we do this, so the fridge will show you a screen with a picture of butter, and fridge is going to ask you, do you want me to put this in the shopping cart? And then you are going to say, yes, please. And once you say yes, please, uh, it's going to open another screen where you have your shopping list with all the other items in there, and it's going to add that to your shopping list.
Hassan, I think you need to reshare your screen.
Sure. No, I'm
Or,
I'm
or
going
are
to.
you just
No, I'm
talking?
no. I'm just going to show you, but I had that open in front of me, so I just
Oh,
wanted to. All right, so that's what is going to happen. All right, so let's start sharing again. Okay, so not going to do anything different. So select the screen and then Command D to make a copy. And then this is the screen on which you will see a picture of a butter, which your fridge is showing you. So let's just delete this guy. We'll delete this guy. And we are going to find a picture of butter. I think I have it in Illustrator somewhere over here. Thought I had a picture of butter over here. Let's see. I might have deleted that. So I'm just going to borrow it from the project over here. All right. So here's the picture of the butter. Okay, so once again, how can I help you? Actually, it's going to be on this screen. Okay, so and I'm going to add some text over here. Let's see. Since it's a prototype, so we are also telling the user what to do. So it's going to say there is no butter. Okay, and so we can work with fonts and stuff. So, but I think this should look fine. All right. So this is what is going to happen right here. This goes on the screen because this is where we are giving the command. There's a question, fridge is asking, and we are going to say there's no butter. Fridge is going to show you picture of the butter, and we are okay. So this is where your menu is going to go. Okay, so in order to create the menu, a couple of ways to do this. Let's do an easy way. So these are going to be the fields of the shopping list. So about this size, and usually when I'm drawing, I'll draw over here and then move over here in order to assemble everything, and then we can bring back. Okay, so there are a couple of issues which are over here, and I was also thinking of keeping the branding. I've not been keeping the branding over here. So the Samsung. So Samsung logo, I also wanted to keep it here. Sorry guys, so I'm going back and forth today. Not very organized, but let's just do this. Okay, so this logo which I copied, and now once again, it is not Samsung blue. It is white now. So Option drag to make a copy, right click, edit in Photoshop. So if you have that Samsung color, I'm just going to use this blue right now. So, okay, so if you notice when I did a fill in Photoshop, Option, delete, fills, but it's going to fill the whole screen. You do Command Z. Now it is a PNG image, okay, and I could have gone Command U and then mixed my color myself, Okay, so I'll just make it a little bit darker over here, saturation, and then colorize, and then you can mix a color. If you know the color values, you can do that. So you need hue, saturation, and lightness values in order to do. But if you already have a color you have sampled, you can fill. But in order to fill in this case, what you need to do is in your layers panel, you lock your transparency. So in other words, when you fill, it's not going to fill in the transparent areas. Option, delete. So now it's going to fill only where the pixels are, no transparency. Command S to save. And once you save it, when I go back to XD, so come on, it's right here. Let me select that. Here we go. Okay, so I should have this over here when I was copying. So again, to keeping the consistency. Now in this case, I didn't do that. Okay, so how can I place this again so that it appears exactly at the same location? Okay, so how can we do this? So rather than option dragging this time, I'm going to right click and say copy. Then I'm going to go to this screen and see if I do a paste. Okay, so it should paste it exactly at the same location on that particular screen. So make sure that that page or the artboard is selected, and then you do pasting. Now, previously in other programs, if you had to do something like this, you need to make sure that you are putting the X and the Y values of the location of the graphics after you put that. But good thing about XD is that it remembers what you copied. All you need to make sure is that you have that particular page selected. Okay, so if I don't select the page, so I can paste it anywhere I want. Okay. All right. So we found out something else. Now, keeping that in mind, I was going to build that list over here, and I can already see an issue. Okay. So let's say that if the list starts right here, and from this point to this point, it's going to be here. But remember, this list needs to go behind everything. Okay, what do I mean by that is, let's just give this a color so that it starts making more sense. We'll just use same purple over here, option, drag to make a copy, and then this yellow. Shift select both of them together, and I'm going to reduce the opacity. Say about 20%. And then I'm going to go to the repeat grid and extend the list. So right now I have about 12 items over here. Bring these together. Okay, so my list starts over here. And where my logo is, Samsung logo, so this list is going to go on top of the, if I bring the logo to the top, that should be fine too, but again, the list is going behind it. So for the solution will be, at this point, what I'm going to do is to select or make a rectangle in this area. So just make a white rectangle, no borders, make it a size so that it covers everything. I'm going to send it back or backwards, command left bracket, just like in Illustrator. So you're sending it backwards. And then I'm going to, when I will be putting the list, it's going to go all the way behind so that the white box is on top. Okay, so select the list and command shift and left bracket is going to put it all the way behind. So now if the list is scrolling, it's going to go behind. Does it make sense? All right, so keeping that in mind, let's just bring this out and complete that. And just going to, just to save time, I'm going to borrow what I've done earlier. See if I can copy and paste from here. Okay. Okay, so this is what I did. Once again, rounded rectangles for the icons over here, and I showed you how I extracted each and every image. Just going to move it over here. And so I built a list, something like this. Once again, use the repeat grid to create something like this. The colors which I was using in the other project, so reduce them to approximately 20%, and then I labeled everything. Okay, so we are going to use this, so just save time. So bring this over here. And the butter was hiding down there, so it's going to go all the way down. And command shift left bracket to send it to back. And another thing I was hoping was to do is command D to make a copy, and then take this whole thing and move it up. So we are going to do auto transition somewhere over here. Okay, so now I can see another problem over here. So when the list is going up, so instead of creating one rectangle over here, so I should have created two. So rather than building one over here, so I'm going to do command Z to undo this and select this guy, option, drag to make a copy. And send this to the back, command shift all the way to the back, and then also make sure that this goes even behind that, command shift and left bracket. Okay, so now this should be okay. So command D and take this guy and move it up. So now you can see that it is going behind that white. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. I totally forgot about. Okay. Okay, so one thing I need, you can tell I'm not prepared today. But anyway. So this is going to say yes, please. Okay, help me guys out. So what should I do now? So all the designing is there. Help me set up the transitions. Anyone remembers a little bit about voice, which we used in one of our projects, in one of the demos, and that was way back there in school. Help, help, help. Okay, so first thing we need to do is, in order to add interactivity, we need to go to the prototype mode. So in prototype mode, this is where we are starting. Okay, so so over here, when we say hi fridge, okay, so when we say hi fridge, this screen will open up. Okay, so from here to here, so we need to set up a transition. So when I click over here, and in transition, we are going to create a voice transition. Okay, and the command is going to be hi fridge. And we are going to do an auto animate. And just going to make the transition a little bit. Okay, and the destination is going to be hi. Okay, this screen. Okay, so I'm not sure how it's going to work, so let's try it. Okay, so I'm going to hi fridge. Okay, sorry, I didn't press the space bar. Hi fridge. Here we go. So now you can see that I gave a command, and it's a slow transition. It is about 0.8 seconds. And let's try it again. Hi fridge. Okay, so this transition is going well. Now the thing is that we want now fridge to respond. Okay, and it's going to respond and take it to this screen. Okay, so this transition now, going from first screen to, let's call this a second screen over here, or H1. Okay, so let's look at the transition. Okay, so this is not going to be a voice transition like this. It's going to be a time transition. Okay, and your type is going to be audio playback rather than speech playback. Now, I don't remember how to do this, but let's see if we can make this work. Let's do speech playback. And you can choose the voice, and the voice will say, how can I help you? Question mark. Okay, so time delay, I think 0 seconds should be fine. Let's see how that works. So let's play this. Hi, Fridge. Okay, and okay, so this should go to the next screen. So let's see what we need to do. Mm-hmm. Transition over here. We don't want to use any keys over here. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so it's going to be time, and 1 second is fine. Speech playback. All right. Okay, I think I have to create another transition over here. And this transition is going to be transition, and let's do auto animate. Okay, let me play this and see if this works. What I intended to do over here. Hi, Fridge. Okay. Yeah, this should go to another screen now. to figure that out. Time. Okay. I told you I was not very prepared today. Let's see. Hi, Fridge. Okay, now I've lost my voice. You know what, guys? So let's do this. Let me figure this out. I'll get back to you on this. I think we can stop lecture today at this time. So if anyone of you can figure this out, so let me know. I do want you to create this short project. We'll just call it as the voice project. And we do need to make this work. So hopefully, I'll go and figure this out and see if this can happen. All right. So if you guys have any questions or comments, so just let me know, guys. So we'll solve the technical issues on Thursday.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Sorry about that. Okay. And yeah, so again, we are all learning together, and my mind is not working right now. So we'll get it done. So so once again, at least build the graphics for something like this by next week, so that we can together make this work. So all we have to do is to make sure that our transitions are correct. All right.
So besides the final project, we have to make a voice command project?
Yeah, these are just going to be short projects. We have plenty of time for the final project. So as we are learning a little bit, I may ask you to do a small project like that in there. So it shouldn't take you that long. Or if anyone has any issues, so let me know. So I can be of any help, especially for students who are new to designing with Photoshop and Illustrator. Okay.
Okay, and for our final project, do we need to get that approved by you, or?
Yes, I'm still waiting. So that is going to be on Thursday. You need to let me know what you're doing. As far as your projects are concerned, my approvals are always 100% approvals because I want you to create something what you want to do. So basically, I only give you some instructions which are very basic, and from there you can decide how to do the project. But think that your instructor is your client, okay? And so you need to tell the client what you are building, because those are the people who pay you, okay? So the whole idea of doing all those briefs and everything, creative brief and everything, is try to create that communication between you as designers and developers, and between the middleman as well as the final person who is going to actually pay you and approve your projects. So as far as what you want to do, you are deciding that, but you do need to communicate with me so that I can say, okay, you know what, I know what you're doing. So that will be kind of my approval. Okay.
Okay.
So the whole idea of approval is just to take you through the process, nothing else. So you have 100% creative freedom when you're working with your projects. So just you're following the steps. Just that what those steps are going to be in the real world.